Greetings, everyone, and welcome to part 5 of the Doctor Who DVD Disambiguation. Today we're going to cover Season 5, featuring the second Doctor, Patrick Troughton, which ran from 1967 to 1968. Let's not waste any time, let's get right into it, today on the Multimedia Chronicles. Welcome back. Well, a bit of good news to start things off. The season opening story, an epic four-parter featuring the Cybermen, which was long considered one of the all-time great Cyberman stories, one of the big pivotal ones in the history of the series, was missing for a very long time, but in the early 90s, it was rediscovered. All 4 parts were rediscovered. I am, of course, talking about story number 37, Tomb of the Cybermen. Yeah, great stuff. This has seen a few releases over the years. Needless to say, it was a big deal when it was rediscovered because it was one of the most wanted of the missing stories. It's terrific stuff. Now, there have been a couple of editions of this. The initial VHS release, just for the heck of it, we'll show that. The initial VHS release was released, I believe, in 1992, I think? The initial VHS release just featured the 4 episodes completely unrestored, just kind of transferred from the film prints that they found and dumped onto VHS for a quick and dirty release. It also featured a special introduction with Morris Berry, who was the director of the story, who was still alive and kicking at the time, so he did a nice little intro and talked about how pleased he was that the fans considered it to be one of the all-time great Cyberman stories. Now, the good news is that specially filmed intro from the old VHS release is available on the DVD releases. Now, the first DVD release, well, in Region 1 land anyway, looked like this, and this was what I originally had. It has since been replaced, however, with the, is it 2-disc? Yeah, the 2-disc special edition version, which has lots of additional extras. Now, one thing that's interesting to note is the original DVD release did not use what they call vidfire processing. A lot of these early episodes only exist as film prints. So vidfire is a process where they take a nice high-quality scan of the film prints and restore the original studio video look of it. It actually interpolates and creates additional frames where there would be frames missing in the film prints, and recreates the original studio video. Because all these early episodes were originally shot on video, basically black and white video, and then if there was any location work done, it would have been filmed on film. Now, in the case of Tomb of the Cybermen, it was entirely filmed in the studio, I believe. I don't think there was any location work at all. Maybe a little bit during the beginning, I think. But for the most part, it was entirely a studio-based production. So the nice thing about the vidfire processing is it restores that video look that the original broadcast would have had. And they did a very nice job of it. Now, interesting to note, the original DVD release did not feature the episodes restored with the vidfire processing. Instead, it just had a straight transfer of the film prints. However, as an Easter egg extra, it showed a short clip of one of the episodes with the vidfire processing, because it was a new process at the time, so it had not yet been implemented as part of the standard restoration procedure. It has since been used for all of the old stories from the 60s that only exist on film prints, and some of the early 70s ones as well that have been also restored, but we'll get to that when we get to them. So it was interesting to see this short clip looking the way it would have looked back in the 60s. They've since gone back and done further restoration work on the entire story, reprocessing all of the studio sequences with vidfire to restore that video look. So this is easily the best this story has ever looked since its original broadcast. Probably even better than its original broadcast, because of course, things are much higher quality now. Yeah, so well worth picking it up. Now, if you're curious about the difference between the special edition and the original DVD release, really that's it. As far as I'm aware, all of the extras were carried over to the special edition, except for that one little Easter egg clip, because it would just be redundant. I mean, why bother with the Easter egg clip of the vidfire thing when you have it here? And I think the only other thing that would be missing would be coming soon on DVD trailer for one of the other releases. So, because obviously this was released quite a few years later after the original. Now, the reason I spent so much time talking about this particular one in this full season's worth of episodes is because it's the only complete story from all of Season 5. Just double check that. Yes, it is the only complete story currently available from Season 5. Good news is, though, there is another one coming that's only missing a couple of episodes. So they're giving the missing episodes the animated treatment a little later this year, but we'll get to that one in just a moment. So next up, we have story number 38, an epic 6-part story entitled The Abominable Snowmen. It was a very, very popular, well-regarded story. I used to have the novelization of that one, actually. It was one of the earlier novelizations I read. I was really interested in reading the novelizations of the missing stories because there was no other way to experience them at the time. Even though they had all the soundtracks, they had not yet released restored versions of them. They'd released a handful of them on cassette tape, but that was it. There was no CDs or anything at the time. So I read the novelization of The Abominable Snowmen and really liked it. Now, only one of the 6 episodes still exists, specifically episode 2. Yeah, so they have episode 2, and you can, of course, find that on the Patrick Troughton Second Doctor Lost in Time collection. So there you go. So that's all that exists of story number 38. But if you would like to experience the complete story, at least in audio form, and then just watch the one complete episode off of that, you can pick up this, the Abominable Snowmen audio CD. So this includes the entire audio of the story with accompanying bridging narration. Next up, we have story number 39, The Ice Warriors. Now, if you watch the new current series of Doctor Who, you will see that the Ice Warriors actually made a return this season in Series 7, the latter half of Series 7. Well, this is the original, very first appearance of the Ice Warriors. Very mysterious and scary they were. It's not currently available on DVD. However, there is a DVD release coming out later this year. It was a 6-part story, of which they currently hold 4 complete episodes in the BBC archives. But again, they have the complete audio of the missing episodes, so they're giving them the animated treatment. So that's coming out a little bit later this year. In the meantime, I just wanted to give you a quick look at this. I actually have the old VHS release, much like the Space Museum and Crusade set. It's a beautiful clamshell. And this features all 4 surviving episodes, plus a condensed reconstruction of the 2 missing episodes. The 2 missing episodes are episodes 2 and 3, so they actually go back to back. So they basically just did a condensed reconstruction of them, giving you the main, the main beats of the story. But as a bonus, they also give you an audio CD of the complete audio from the 2 missing episodes, so you can actually experience it in full. In addition to that, good old VHS, eh? In addition to that, this is another reason I keep this one, actually. We have a little booklet that actually gives you the complete history of the Ice Warriors, which is pretty cool. All kinds of goodies in there. Quite a cool little booklet. If you can find this VHS edition, you know, it's worth it just to get for this book, and I don't know, just a cool little display piece. So anyway, the Ice Warriors. But that is coming out on DVD later this year. As a matter of fact, I think you can pre-order it on Amazon right now. So there you go. We'll just throw that up there just for the heck of it. A little something extra to look at, because I mean, there's not much to show from this season. So next up, we have story number 40, The Enemy of the World. Yeah, The Enemy of the World is an interesting one because it actually features Patrick Troughton in a double role. He actually not only plays the Doctor in that story, but also plays the primary villain, who's kind of like his evil twin. He's not another Time Lord, he's just basically this evil dictator guy who happens to look identical to the Doctor. But it shows just what an amazing actor Patrick Troughton really is, because he plays these 2 characters completely differently. You've got the very friendly, you know, almost comical Doctor versus Salamander, who is this evil dictator, and he is just pure frickin' evil. And you completely buy it, that these are 2 completely different characters. I mean, he was such a phenomenal actor. Sadly, only 1 episode exists from The Enemy of the World, specifically episode 3, and you can find that on the Lost in Time collection, so you can see the 1 episode that does exist. And of course, if you want to experience the story in full, you can pick up the audio CD of the complete audio track with accompanying narration, and then just watch the existing episode right in the middle there where it belongs. Okay, so carrying on, we have the shortly awaited return of the Yeti from the Abominable Snowmen in story number 41, The Web of Fear. Now, The Web of Fear also is almost entirely missing. It only has one episode existing. Specifically, the very first episode of this 6-part story still exists, and again, you can find that on the Lost in Time set. The Web of Fear is notable because it features the debut of Colonel Alistair Gordon Lethbridge Stewart. Yes, it's before he became the Brigadier, but it's the very first appearance of Lethbridge Stewart. The actor who played him, Nicholas Courtney, previously appeared as Brett Vion in the 12-part First Doctor story, The Daleks' Master Plan. But notable to mention because, Lethbridge Stewart was a pretty major character, who, especially during the 70s era, but this is the story that actually introduced us to him for the very first time. So pretty cool. This is essentially carries on the story of the Yeti from the Abominable Snowmen. This time they've invaded the London Underground, and it's a lot scarier than it was the last time. Really good stuff, considered, one of the all-time great 60s horror stories of that era. So anyway, you can see the single episode here that does exist. You can also pick up this, which is of course the complete audio of all 6 episodes with accompanying narration. If you'd like to just get the 2 Yeti stories together, you can also get this, which is a collection of just the 2 Yeti stories, because they do kind of go together. Obviously, there's a couple stories in between, obviously, but if you just want to have a Yeti fest, you can pick up that set and check that out. As always, I'll be including Amazon links to everything that I'm talking about in this video, so if you want to get it for your own collection, you can. Region 1 only, of course, because I am in Region 1 land, and I do get a small kickback for you using my Amazon links, so thanks very much for the support. And I'll, of course, also include a listing, just a regular quick reference list of everything, and where you can expect to find it in the description as well. Okay, carrying on, we move on to story number 42, Fury from the Deep. Another quite chilling horror story. Season 5 had some great stories, actually. A lot of the all-time greats are in this season. So, of course, it's the one with the most episodes missing, right? Yeah, it's just kind of the way it goes. Sadly, there are no complete episodes existing from Fury from the Deep. However, there are a few clips, specifically some clips that were recovered from the Australian censor board, so you get to see some gruesome deaths from the show, which is pretty cool, and you can find those on the Lost in Time set. And as always, you can pick up the audio CD if you want to experience the story's audio in full, complete form with accompanying narration. Now, finally, we have story number 43, The Wheel in Space, which introduces us to companion Zoe Harriet, who's very much a fan favorite. I think she's one of my favorite companions of all time, actually. I think she's just adorable. She's really smart. She's a wizard at math and computers and stuff like that. So, The Wheel in Space is once again a Cyberman story, so much like how Patrick Troughton's first run was bookended by a pair of Dalek stories, this season is bookended by a pair of Cyberman stories. So we started with Tomb of the Cybermen, we end with The Wheel in Space. The Wheel in Space, of course, you know what I'm going to say, is sadly incomplete. It was a 6-part story, of which only episodes 3 and 6 still survive. So at least you get the concluding episode of the season, which isn't, too bad. And you get to see the actual scene where Zoe first joins the TARDIS crew, which is pretty cool. And you can see both of those episodes on the Lost in Time collection as well. And then, of course, finally, if you want to experience the full, complete audio of the story, we have the audio CD as well. And then you can watch the 2 episodes that do exist, where they fall into the story properly. Alrighty, so that is it for Season 5, and thankfully, that is it for the huge gaps in the stories. So you can rest assured that from Season 6 onward, things are more or less intact. There's still a few missing episodes in Season 6, which we'll get to when we get to them, but the vast majority of Season 6 is intact. So, as of this season, we've made our way past almost all of the missing episodes, and there's just a handful left to go. So, yeah, Seasons 3, 4, and 5 are the ones that are the most devastated by missing episodes, and, hope springs eternal that one day those episodes will be found, but I don't know, it's been a long time, and there's a lot of people out there who've been searching for a long time, so I don't know that that's going to happen anytime soon, if ever. But in the meantime, at least we do have the audio tracks, so we can at least enjoy the complete stories in some form or another. Alrighty, well, that is it for Season 5. So if you're just looking to get the DVDs, this is all you got. And then there's a DVD of the Ice Warriors coming out later. So we have story number 37, The Tomb of the Cybermen, and then stories 38, 40, 41, and 43 in, everything that exists of them represented on the Lost in Time set, in addition to some stray random clips from some of the other stories in between. So some is better than none, right? Yeah, needless to say, as I think I said in the last episode, if you want to get the Patrick Troughton Second Doctor era, you absolutely need to pick up the Lost in Time set, because it is absolutely invaluable. Absolutely invaluable. Alrighty, that is it from me to you for now, so we'll see you next time for Season 6, the final season of the Second Doctor. Yeah, so we'll check that out next time. Until then, thanks for watching, and sayonara. Welcome back. Okay, well, good news. The season opening story, which is considered one of the all-time classics of the 60s era, was... fuck. So, season 42... We haven't got to season 42 yet. We're just about to start season 34.